Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue,
Everyone's favorite Green Lantern. You know, Guy Gardner. Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the sometimes cocky one, never too much, Mr. Mike.
Well, I wouldn't say never too much, but sure.
Well, there's
one
a reason
man's cocky
why.
is another man's cocky, I guess.
That's true. I guess it's the same to
Or
each
something.
man. I'm Zach. I don't
Why
know
is
what
there a
we're going
saying
there.
if it's exactly the same to everyone?
Exactly.
You are still Zach, though.
I am still Zach. I'm going to
Yeah.
intro us again. This is Bros, Foes, and Heroes. We are a comic book podcast where each
We
week
are.
I, Zach, give Mike either a comic book story line, a character, or sometimes some history. We dabble into things that are always comic related. We also have a show on Wednesdays that is usually our World's Finest Wednesdays where we stick to some Silver Age stuff. We are working our way through the second ever.
To the superhero man.
We do. We are working our way through the second
woman.
ever Batman annual, our Batmanual, as we have called it. This week, I can go ahead and tell you, Batman Magician is what you have to look forward to on
that's
Wednesday.
Nice. I've always thought one thing missing from Batman's utility belt is like some up close magic. Like street
absolutely.
magic. Yeah.
Absolutely, it is street magic.
Maybe a little game of shells.
Hey, now you see me behind, now you're in cuffs.
That's
yes.
That's the way it works. The end.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just one story. Now we can put another blow pop ad in there. That's great.
Wow. Well, hey, did they ever find Commissioner Gordon? Remember, he was just lost on safari.
That's right. He was. That's why they keep changing the actor.
That
They keep
is,
losing him.
'cause he just keeps,
Hey, why do you think it is as humans that we feel a need to rip the labels off of our bottles?
I never rip the label.
Really?
I never rip the labels off my bottles. Never.
Why don't you feel the need to rip the label off the bottle?
I don't know, but I've never felt the need to. Not trying to just
I bet now
strike down your claim right
I bet now
away,
that
but
I've taken the label off of this, no one can tell what I'm drinking.
it's clearly
Nope. It's green. It's not clear.
strawberry Fanta.
That's it.
So
Damn.
I know.
So good.
I get that.
For those of you who can't see us, you're welcome.
That's true. I guess the audio people are left to wonder what Mike is drinking, but it is pretty obvious that what it was. Anyway, it's very fitting what you're drinking with what we're going to talk about today. Yes.
Oh, for real?
For real. And
I
you will
never
see here in a
plan
second.
anything.
You don't, but so Mike just had a birthday. Like literally just had a birthday.
Did.
Yesterday. Happy birthday.
I was 72.
And I had planned, and we had talked about it, of doing Mobius and Stan Lee's Silver Surfer story parable. Mm-hmm. We are still going to do that this month. I'm counting as your month. We're going to get to it. But we kind of ran a rerun this last week. In a way, I found video, so it was like a new.
Well, we had
like a rehash.
It was on me.
It wasn't
because
on you.
we had a live show that we were running on the day we were supposed to record. That I did not think was going to take as much time as it did. I ended up busting out the windshield in the back of my truck, and that took the rest of the day. Yeah. That and all of the anger in my system had to leave at a certain point. And so it was not a good day, my lord.
Well, hopefully today's been a better one, and I'm hoping to make it a little bit better. What I was going to say is what I had planned for us, then I moved up to this week in both instances for that. And Wednesday also, I'll mention it now. Feel free, if you have a recommendation or if you have a comment about anything, to email us at brosfoesandheroes, all spelled out, brosfoesandheroes @gmail.com. We got one this week that I'll talk about when we get to World's Finest Wednesday that I appreciate very much and that we are actually going to cover here really soon. So please feel free, if you have them, to send them in to us.
Yes, whether your name is Phil or not.
Yeah, or if it's Greg, it doesn't even matter what your name is. Greg was in my head because we talked about that. That's
we talked about the
name.
Greg guy.
Yeah.
So Danny Gonzalez.
There you go.
Is a
That's
guy that I watch on YouTube, and I have this weird thing where I'll find these guys or people that I like to watch on YouTube, and I like the ones that have a lot of history. Because then I kind of go all around where they've recorded. This kid's been recording for 7 years on YouTube, and he's pretty damn consistent.
Do you think we have lore? We've been around close to 4 years.
We have to have some.
We have Gali Khan.
We have Gali Khan, yeah. But I watched this kid turn from a small child. Well, not really a small child because that's creepy, but he was a teenager when he started. Now he's married with a baby. And so it's like
you feel like you're a part of it.
But I've watched it. Now here's the weird part. I've watched it over the last few months.
Oh,
so it's weird.
Sped up and very quick.
Yeah, because it's almost like a sci-fi movie in sorts that like they put him in the YouTube pod and he grows faster or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
He grows faster. Sometimes I notice that
just basic scientific facts.
When I go back and I make shorts, which if you're not following us on our YouTube shorts, but also Instagram and TikTok, Brofo Hero, I believe it is. But anyway, I make the shorts out of the best parts. It's very condensed clips, but a lot of times you're going to appreciate this. I get your jokes then.
Yeah.
It's not that like I don't like, obviously I would get them, but sometimes I'm like, so like, all right, trying to keep the episode like in line and like listening to you and where we're going next. And I feel like I'm in my own world and I miss them sometimes because I've had multiple people ask me, man, Mike had a great joke and you just sold it.
Here's the deal. You're the driver. I'm the passenger. Right. And so you have to pay attention to the road. I do not.
That's true.
And so that's why I go, look, world's biggest ball of yarn or whatever.
I do get to appreciate these jokes. I want you to know some even years ago.
Some of them are awful too. So.
I get to bring back up. Yeah. Because I made a short for, I don't remember what it was now, but like I was listening through Nightcat because I made a short for it recently. And like that was a while back and I just laughed and I was like, why did I not get
that one
is
then? So bad. That was so bad.
Well, they thought they could make
They wanted to make a rock star out of,
Oh, that's what it was. I tell you this whole, you can hear it in the short, but I just love it because I love reminding Mike because he doesn't remember some of the stuff.
I don't remember shit.
But like, I'm telling you the whole like plan about that they're going to make her like this real celebrity. And that in like this tour ad, it talks about how like you can come out and see her like, sing and dance and fight ninjas. And you're laughing about that. And then like immediately there's a little bit of lull and you're like, wait, why is this? There's an actual person dressed up like this? And I was like, yes, what do you think I was telling you about? And you're like, I didn't think that was real.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. They should do that more often.
They should
try that again.
Oh, yeah. Like
Marvel, that's what you're missing.
Bring Dazzler back.
For phase 19 or whatever you're doing at this point.
All right. That's enough banter between us. What we have today, Mike, is somebody that I think you are going to appreciate me telling you about and explaining to you. He is coming up in a movie here very soon, and I don't think you know necessarily too much about him. I don't know if you know necessarily too much about the group of people as a whole, and I might not be the best one to answer some of these, but I will. We're talking about Guy Gardner. Ooh. Why do you look like that, Mike?
I don't know what it is about Green Lantern that makes me just go yuck. But
see, I thought
I am going to have a complete open mind to this because of the Nathan Fillion thing, because my good friend, the director of all his movies, what's his name?
James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Your
my good friend James Gunn has asked me to keep an open mind to it. So yeah.
So I will tell you this.
Sorry, James.
We're not going to cover all of.
You know who didn't ask me to do it?
Who?
Schneider.
Well, there was a picture here recently.
They know each other.
Yeah, the two of them together. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fun.
That's great. That's great. He doesn't make him a good director.
I don't think.
Ba-bum-bum-ba-dum-bum-wah-wah.
Here's the thing. I don't have as much. 'Cause
Vitriol?
There was a time on this show where Mike really did not like Zack Snyder.
I did not like Zack Snyder.
It was a good month stretch of where it was something new.
You know what
but
it was? You know what it was? It was the fact that the movies were bad. Then people were fighting for his movies for some reason.
Yeah, I remember there's a whole deal on Netflix.
And then the black and white one. And then he did that weird zombie thing where people are in like Fallout Las Vegas or whatever, going after zombies. That was terrible.
With Tig and
just
Batista.
Bad movies. Just bad movies. And Tig Notaro, she was not supposed to be in that movie. Because I swear to God, they filmed all her scenes like months later and just stuck them in.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me that.
It
was just like she wasn't there.
I did not like it at all.
So, well.
But there you go.
We're not.
300 was great.
300 is great. Frank Miller, for all the Frank
He was
Miller,
on I saw him yesterday doing a live where he was answering questions.
For what?
Something about drawing or something.
He's been doing a lot of variant covers for stuff here lately.
Yeah, he must owe some child support or something.
I don't know. We don't cover it. You know what I want it to do, and here, what I have. Speaking of Frank Miller, how often can you do this? I should actually look at my camera. So block my face. There's a very, very young and strapping Frank Miller on the back.
Looks like
there.
Paul Rubens.
You know what I have here, Mike, and I've thought about doing this, and I haven't told you about this at all, and we'll just go ahead and. I have all three of the Frank Miller trilogy for this, which honestly, this is the only one that's really good. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, we read the second one and never covered that. No, he did 300 in there, and there's a Daredevil run. And anyway, I have all three. I have honestly, I have thought about grouping all three of those together.
Yeah,
like the Frank Miller Batman.
That'd be
collection.
cool. I would love that. Yeah.
And we've already covered two of those, but giving it away, giving our copies away as like a fourth, hey, it's our fourth birthday. Who wants to subscribe? Something like that.
We should do it near the holidays or something.
You want to do it till then? You want to wait all the way till then?
Oh, we don't have to.
I don't know. That's something I'm kicking around. Anyway,
give it out for a summer treat.
This is what happens is we go down so many rabbit holes, but Frank Miller made me think of that. Let's get back to not Frank Miller, but Guy Gardner, and let's get into today's episode. So
now, are we only okay?
So I think that's where I started on this. So let me explain what we're going to cover for Guy.
Yeah.
So the Guy Gardner that we're going to look at and what I'm going to bring to you today is I'm going to tell you the origin of Guy Gardner. So you know how he got his start to begin with. And then I'm going to focus mainly on the Guy Gardner that was recreated by Steve Englehart after the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the 80s, and then expanded upon by the Keith Geffen, J.D. Mateus, Justice League International in the 80s, and kind of into the 90s. And I'm going to talk about that some. The stuff in the 2000s we're not going to get into today. We're stopping. Here's what I'm telling you. I am telling you the Guy Gardner I think you can expect in the movies.
Okay.
That is what we're focusing on.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Because later, and I feel very good about this, I feel Guy's arc, and he has a lot of fans now, and Guy as a character has grown a lot and is a lot different now in DC continuity as to where he was when we're going to cover him.
Because when we're covering him, he's a complete tool.
He's a complete jerk.
Okay.
So he didn't start like that. He didn't end like that. He still can be now, but they've retconned some stuff. And he's even a Lantern. He just has I think it's this unbelievable willpower. Just the amount, he can just will himself to do ridiculous things in a way. He's a very strong, and his backstory in 2 that we're not going to kind of dive in too much of it because they expand upon it more later in 2 is he comes from an abusive childhood where just a terrible father who was just the worst to him, and he was always trying to, make his dad see something. He has a more intricate backstory, and they made him a better, fuller, fleshed out character. But that's not, we're focusing on Guy Gardner up to a point, the Guy Gardner that I think you're going to get in the movies, because just looking at it, it looks like that Guy Gardner. It looks like Justice League International Guy Gardner. So
you know what they haven't mentioned in a while?
What's up?
Is that Super Squirrel, right? Wasn't it a Super Squirrel?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's
they
not
had in that weird box.
It's one of the Green Lanterns. I can't see. I'm not the best when it comes to Green Lanterns either.
Okay.
We're learning together. But I did read all this stuff, so I can at least teach you.
We're learning together.
Together.
It says.
So, Green Lantern first appeared, or Green Lantern, Guy Gardner first appeared on March of 1968 in issue number 59 of Green Lantern, created by John Brome, or Broome, B-R-O-M-E, I think it's Brome. John Brome and Gil Kane is the penciler there. Inker Sid Green, letterer Gaspar Saldino. Julius Schwartz is the editor. But here's the thing, Mike. If you're hoping for what happens on the cover there, which is a great cover of Get Off This Earth, Hal Jordan, there's only room for one Green Lantern, right? And you're thinking, oh, no, that's not what happens at all. We've learned this a lot from the Silver Age.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Batman has really put me off on that. Because no matter what happens on the Batman cover, you're never going to see it again.
Nope, and this is DC, so that's the king of that. What happens is kind of a what if. Guy Gardner is technically our second Green Lantern, even though John Stewart becomes Green Lantern first. And I'll explain all this when we get here too.
Okay.
So I'll tell his origin story, and then we'll explain other things kind of that happened there. It's a very simple one. Hal Jordan, I don't know if you are familiar with how Hal Jordan became Green Lantern to begin with.
No.
So the issue starts off by kind of retelling
Found a ring.
the story a bit. So Hal Jordan, our first Green Lantern, our main Green Lantern, Kyle Chandler in the Lantern Show, if you're curious about that, that's who he's going to be, is hanging out with the Guardians, and they have like this giant, I don't know what to call it. Like, it's like a just giant like movie projector, like TV screen that they're there. And they tell him that it is one of their proudest achievements. They call it a mental postmortems. And what it can do is, where is it? That it essentially, I'm trying to tell where they explain it, that it tells like, or it can show like other histories, like things that could have happened, or like, remember how like Superboy has that little TV where you can see things in the future and stuff like that? It's like that.
Yeah.
What we get here is, it shows how okay, let me tell you a name that I'm just going to tell you and then you can forget it, but I just need to say it for this part, just at least for you.
This may be my issue with Green Lantern right
because there's so much. I get it. I get
too
that.
Many things.
That is the problem, and that's why I tried to focus like this, because that is tough with Green Lantern. I think that's kind of my like drawback too, is being like, he did this, he did that, okay.
Plus, it's a lantern.
Well, it's a ring, really.
I'm just saying.
The ring is what they have to charge.
Can't think of much more exciting than a lantern.
So the lantern, here's the way to think about this. Let me help you out with this. The ring is where all the power and everything comes from, right?
Okay.
They charge the ring with the lantern. So it's the battery. The lantern is the battery for the ring.
Okay. All right.
That's the way to look at it. Well, I'm just explaining.
Sure, I get you. Yeah.
Anyway.
You didn't make it up.
Okay. So Abin Sur is who essentially made Hal Jordan a Green Lantern. He had crash landed on Earth.
He's got the red head.
The big red guy, yeah.
All right.
He had crash landed on Earth. He was about to die. He needed to find, as for Green Lanterns, they need to find like their replacement. And in the original Green Lantern story, it goes to look for somebody without fear and, who is trustworthy and all that.
Find your replacement before you die.
So, well, the ring kind of hunts out the next person.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it found test pilot Hal Jordan, and it brings him to a dying Abin Sur, who tells him, hey, you're meant to be a Green Lantern, explains to him what it is, and passes it on to him before he dies. And then Hal becomes Green Lantern.
I think my wife and I stayed at Abin Sur for a week one time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Really nice.
Was it nice? Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so it kind of retells us that part of it. But what we find out in this issue in 59 is the ring comes back to Abin Sur and tells him.
59?
I'm sorry, from issue 59.
Oh.
From 1968.
Oh, that's a lot younger than I thought it was, because the art doesn't seem as old as some of the stuff that we look at.
Yeah, no, this is from 68.
From that period,
The ring comes back and tells Abin Sur in this issue that there isn't just Hal Jordan, because the origin, the first time, it's just like, oh, Hal Jordan is the person who should be worthy. We come to find out that apparently there are two people that were worthy, Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner, but they're both identically worthy and free from fear, but Hal Jordan was closer.
Okay.
And so that's why Abin Sur goes, well, I'm dying, bring me who's closer, like my time's limited.
Is that how you should pick your...
And so that is why, in this story, that is why it tells you that
the other
Hal was chosen.
Yeah.
So then Hal's like, well, then what would have happened if for some reason, like, I wasn't, like, and it did go to Guy? Like, how would that work?
Yeah.
And so it shows him then, like, it's this what if story of what if Guy Gardner would have been Green Lantern instead.
Oh.
And so we do find out that early Green Lantern,
This is gonna get fun, guys.
This is going to get fun. So early Green Lantern, our early Guy Gardner, it does.
Sorry
give
for
you a
those
little
who are
bit-
just listening.
That's
The
true,
power is
true.
fluctuating a lot, and the lights are flashing.
I
right
forgot,
after
yeah.
Mason came and told us that it just
It's very ominous.
Yeah.
So early Guy Gardner, it does give you a little bit of his backstory, and it tells you that he's like a school teacher. I think he's like a PE teacher in East City. So like Hal's covering, I think it's either Coast City or Central City. And so Guy's out in East City, but still he's a PE teacher out there.
Okay.
And so he just tries to blend in with this new power that he has, and he like trains, but he takes it very seriously. And we find out that Guy Gardner would have been a very good Green Lantern. Like, that's all it does. It goes through the story and tells you, like, yeah, he would have fought the same, like some of the same villains that, you know, our Green Lantern would have fought, or maybe they're a little bit different. He still would have had taken on Sinestro, and he would have held his own.
Can you go back one page?
Yeah,
please?
sure.
Oh. Black Hand? Is that what that says?
He does. You know, I did not realize this. He is going to make another appearance in this, but yes.
Black Hand? Okay.
Black Hand does.
From back here, it looked like Blowjob.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying. I just didn't. I was like, Blowjob? Really? Is that
No, it is Black Hand.
before that was
I
a
made
thing?
it full screen.
I get it. I
Okay.
get it. I can't tell you I can see it. But yeah.
Well, fair enough. So
And then that eggheaded guy.
Black Hand does appear again. I didn't realize that. That's funny. So, but what does it in for Guy Gardner in this is Hal Jordan goes, wait, hold on. Okay, so he had a very good career, but wait, he's going to a different part of like space that I haven't been to before. Go ahead. Let's watch this out. Well, Guy Gardner gets taken over by these beams that kind of cause him to crash land onto this planet that is inhabited by nothing but children, right? And these
Okay.
children have created these like war machines.
Okay.
Okay. The reason there's only
He
children.
should be good with children, though.
The reason there's
He's a
only because
PE
he's a
teacher.
teacher. The reason there's only children on this planet is because there's been a yellow plague. Okay, and it has killed off all the adults, and so all that are left there are kids.
I admire you, Zach, to be able to say these things with a straight face
So
all the time.
I know, but the kids have. Well, just wait.
Yeah.
The kids have telepathic,
Telekinetic?
whatever, they can control people's minds.
Telephonic?
Yeah, whatever it is. They control
They
kids'
just get on the
minds.
telephone.
Yeah, that's what they do. They call them
love
like,
to
hey,
stay
you're
on the
listening to
telephone.
me now. And so they take over Guy Gardner and they basically use him as like their war machine. The blue kids do against the orange kids. And so they send Guy
eternal
Gardner
struggle.
out. It
Blue
is.
against orange.
Blue against orange. And so they send this Green Lantern out with his powers and controlling his mind to just destroy all these war machines they have. Like,
God, you're not kidding. Everything is orange.
it is, right? And then all of a sudden, the orange kids realize, and I'm glossing over some of this, that, that's the blue kid's secret weapon, and they try to take over his mind then. And so the blue and the orange waves are like warring with one another over Guy's mind, and he's able to will himself, use his willpower enough to get out of the way and kind of coat himself in armor to where they can no longer. Here's what it says.
This is not helping with my love of
Sorry.
Green Lantern. I'm just saying this is.
He deflected both of their mental beams and forced them to clash into each other, leaving him, Guy Gardner, momentarily free of either's influence, right?
Yeah.
And in that moment of freedom, he coated himself with power ring armor. So he used his ring so they can't take him back over, essentially.
Why didn't he just do that all the time?
Well, because he
Well, I'm
crash
just saying, why
landed
wouldn't he
there.
just be in armor all the time?
So then in his power ring armor, he lands there with the kids, and he brokers peace between these. He's like, guys, y'all got to stop this.
He just holds up a color wheel and goes,
Yeah.
look, you're not that different.
He goes, lost. Yeah, he pacified the planet, the entire planet.
Wow.
In
What a
this
guy.
task, his long experience as a public school instructor on Earth stood him in good stead. So you were right. Him being a teacher helped him out in this,
Okay.
right?
All right.
And he
Well,
brings
that's good.
peace to this
Yeah.
planet of warring kids.
Good for him. Orange and
And he
blue
goes to
finally
leave.
getting along.
And he's going back home. And as he's going back home, and he goes to recharge his battery.
Uh-oh.
But hardly had he uttered the oath when a terrible change came on him, and he began to shake uncontrollably. he's turned yellow. He caught the yellow plague.
Oh, no.
Also, at some point in time, I think we were done with this at this point in time. I know I said point in time, like back to back really closely. But yellow, Green Lanterns were weak against the color yellow there for a bit too. But
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily anything. But he's dying. And so as he's dying, what does every Green Lantern have to do? Find their replacement.
Yeah, he's got to find a guy.
And so the Ring finds his replacement, which would then be Hal Jordan, because he wasn't chosen the first
I
time.
see.
And he would become Green Lantern anyway.
Hey, second place. It's your turn.
And so then as Guy dies, Hal becomes the new Green Lantern. And so essentially the story is, even if the Ring chose Guy Gardner the first time, Hal would have still become Green Lantern, so it doesn't really matter.
So Hal Jordan, is he supposed to be older?
He is older. Are you talking about like in the DCU stuff or like in this?
Well, just overall. Like
he is older.
Because, they've got that Green Lantern series that's coming on HBO.
Yeah, he's like and it's
the coach.
Kyle Chandler, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's fitting for what they're going for.
Okay.
That works like
That's what I was wondering. I mean, I know
Hal-
it's him, and I don't know the black guy's name that's in it with him. They just always show that same picture of those two walking down a dirt road together when they're talking about the Lantern
Aaron
series.
Pierre. I had to think.
What
of
is he
his
been in?
first name for a second? He was in Mufasa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they look like they fit that universe to me very well, but I didn't know if he was supposed to be that much older or not.
So that's how so to me, and I get it's different to everybody else. To me, he might be like a smidge, I guess, older than I think in my head, but I think like 40s Hal Jordan, mid 20s, late 20s John
well, if you're
Stewart.
playing 40s, you're probably 60 in Hollywood. So yeah.
So but I mean, like that's what I think. Like I think there's enough. It's like it's not enough to where Hal could be his actual dad, but it's enough to where he could be like a father figure.
An uncle.
Yeah, like that. And they can still be like on the same level. Like, there's like that age gap of where it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that. Like 10, 12 years is kind of how I've always viewed it. Anyway, so Hal Jordan, seeing all this, though, realizes, well, it's good to know, though, that at least I have a backup Green Lantern on Earth if I ever need one. Right? So he goes, and he doesn't say anything about it, but he just befriends Guy Gardner as Hal Jordan. And so the issue just ends with the two of them becoming just pals.
Who's the cold miser that was in that thing?
That's one of the Guardians that are there. Yeah.
He looks like the guy from Rudolph.
The Heat Miser. And,
The Heat Miser.
and Cold Miser, yeah.
Cold Miser, yeah.
Mr. Heat Miser. Yeah. Anyway, Guy's also from Baltimore. He didn't really talk much. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do for an accent for
He got crabs.
Just think about The Wire, I guess. But so he just leaves, and it's like, Hal's like, all right, I'm friends with somebody who could potentially be my replacement if I ever need it. And that is where we leave Guy Gardner.
Did the Wire have holy shit? Did it have him in it? The guy that says holy shit.
I don't know. I'm thinking of the scene with Buck and McNulty where it's like just MF all over again, where they're going through
their names, man.
I don't know.
The Wire did not make as big an impact on me as it did on some other people.
It is so good, dude. Omar is like the best.
It was a great show, but it just didn't make a big impact on me for some reason. And maybe it's because I watched it years later.
No, fair enough.
That could be part of it.
I got to figure out the next time we see Guy Gardner.
Old Gigi?
Gigi. It was 87, not 89. I had my numbers off. The next time we see him is in Green Lantern number 87, which I do not have pictures of. I'm just going to tell you about. 3 years later.
What is all this shit at the bottom of the page?
I don't know. It was in the comic.
Yeah, but like, what is it?
It's the
It
statement
looks like
of
you're having a
ownership
business.
management.
It looks like you're having a business meeting with all the children reading the comic book.
That is what it is, essentially. I don't know.
Before PowerPoint.
But in Green Lantern issue number 87,
Yeah.
which is funny enough.
This was 59.
That was 59. We
So
see him
we're
again in 87,
almost
so about 4 years later.
Or 40 episodes, or 40 issues later.
That is the first issue of John Stewart's debut. We just see Guy Gardner rescuing people from a bus during an earthquake, and he's kind of taken out of commission. So when there needs to be another Green Lantern in place of Hal, it can't be Hal. so it has to be Jon
Was this
Stewart.
before or during the Daily Show?
This is before the Daily Show.
Okay.
But no, so that's how technically Guy Gardner is the second Green Lantern, but the third, because Jon Stewart in main continuity becomes a Green Lantern before Guy Gardner actually becomes a Green Lantern.
How do you think they're handling that
Anyway.
in Superman?
I guess
Maybe you had to
actually
guess.
it is how you look at it. I guess Guy is still technically the second one. Anyway, I don't know. I have a feeling that Guy is going to be number 2, that John's going to be the third one, and it is, to me, okay, we talked about this yesterday. This is great. I'll bring this up.
Do you think Coach is playing Hal Jordan?
No, Coach is playing Hal Jordan.
all right.
And Aaron Pierre is playing Jon Stewart, and then Nathan Fillion is playing Guy Gardner. So the only one we're missing out of the big Green Lantern for all the Green Lantern fans is a Kyle Rayner, who is like the 90s Green Lantern that everybody loved. But I think that they're going to, like, it's all set. And I was trying to tell, we had somebody come through giving a tour of this place yesterday, and we started talking about comic books just for a little bit because I told them about the podcast, and I told them I was really excited about the Superman movie. And they said, oh, well, I don't know. It seems like they're squeezing too many people in there. And I said, I think the reason why they specifically chose Guy Gardner to be the Green Lantern in this is because he's not going to be around for that much. Like, if it is a Hal Jordan or if it is a Jon Stewart, one that has a bigger place in the mythos or one that's a bigger fan favorite, then everybody's going to be like, oh, well, what are the two of them going to do? When it's this guy and it's Guy Gardner, he can show up, like, and Guy does have his fans, so I get that someone will be like, well, that's not the Guy Gardner I want, and I get that, but to me, it's going to be like, he's going to show up, be able to be the Guy Gardner I'm about to show you, and then just disappear, and he doesn't have to be a big part. He's also supposed to be in the HBO series. But.
And that's absolutely perfect for Fillion. I mean, it's just, there's nobody else that could play that guy so well, especially if he's going to be an asshole. I mean, because Fillion is so good at that.
He is about to be peak asshole, and I'm about to show you a couple peak asshole Guy Gardner moments. I'm just going to give you a little explanation of how we got there. So he's taken out of commission from saving people from a bus. Jon Stewart becomes Green Lantern in there.
If you ever ask me, like, my favorite archetype of a character, right, it is always the asshole who is with a heart of gold kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's what's his face from Community.
What?
It's
Pierce?
No, it's the main guy.
Jeff. Okay,
yeah, it's Jeff. He's an asshole, but he's got a heart of gold kind of thing, you know, especially for
Guy
the
Gardner doesn't have a
girls
heart
and
of
stuff.
gold till later.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
that guy, anything Bill Murray's ever played for the most part, you know, that kind of, that's my favorite character. But John Hamm does a really good job at that.
He does.
now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So just a quick TLDR of this then. So there's a lot of things that happen kind of to Guy in this, but he's not necessarily, he's never in the forefront. It's always like Hal and John are your main Green Lanterns, and Guy will come up occasionally. There's one point in time where he gets like stuck in the Phantom Zone and like Zod tortures him, and like Hal tries to marry his.
God, I hope we have a Zod in this new one.
Hal Jordan tries to marry Guy Gardner's fiance while he's gone and disappeared. He gets hit by a bus at one point in time. There's a lot of brain damage that happens to Guy Gardner as well. Honestly, there is, and that is kind of used to explain the new attitude that Guy Gardner has in the 80s that he gets.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
brain damage.
He's now, and he kind of turned into, at first it was this no nonsense, just like take no crap kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then it was amped up and written in a parody form of, we're making fun of all the ultra macho like kind of stuff. And that's kind of what the character evolved into.
Like, how are there so many rings?
Oh, with them. See, that's the thing too. Is like we're all also like Earth is in sector 2814. So like the first green Hal Jordan's like 2814.1, and then Gardner's like 2814. So
that's how we explain everything now is multiverse.
Well, no, that's the sector that Earth falls in.
Oh, okay.
Don't make me go down this. It's
okay.
Gonna be confusing.
All right. You're fine. I'll wait.
Well, no, I'm going to confuse myself.
Yeah. The multiverse thing is getting a little tired.
The multiverse thing, think of Marvel with that. They're different worlds.
Right.
Like, that's what Crisis on Infinite Earths was back in the 80s. Was DC
That's a hard one to say.
It is.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
DC was like, hey, we're going to get rid of all the other Earths we've created, and this is just going to be one continuity. and then they branched out and did other stuff then too. And
Is DC the other worlds?
Like the Elseworlds?
Elseworlds.
DC.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, brain damage led us to a revived Guy Gardner is where we were at. But let's go ahead and pick up now. Guy used to be nice. Guy used to be sweet. There is a time where he does suffer more brain damage during the 80s, and he is sweet for a little bit, and then something else happens, and he reverts back to being a
So
douche.
it's
He
kind of
gets
like they've always said, if you get kicked in the head by a mule and your eyes go cross, you have to get kicked in the head again for him to go back.
Exactly. Except he goes nice again for a little bit, and then back to being mean.
Yeah.
The first one we're going to pick up with is from
It's the old mule kick.
Justice League. Oh,
Look at
wow.
us.
Why did it do that?
I don't know, but there we were.
No, there we go. Let's look at Justice League issue 28. Justice League of America 28.
This is our night to howl, he says.
It is. I'm trying to figure out. I'm never the best at finding or having everything in front of me. So this issue, again, we're not focusing on the full story of these. We're just focusing on Guy Gardner's part.
Yeah.
But so that's
this is
Guy
Justice
in his
League of
green
America.
suit. Yeah, this is Keith Geffen. This is J.D. Mateus. And yeah, this is Justice League of America. This is July of '89. There we go. That's what I was trying to figure out. So
Ice Maiden.
Ice Maiden. Or she just goes by Ice.
They
date. I know, but they date for a little bit too, like for a good while, like until the '90s.
That's a bad name.
It is, but
Anything with Maiden in it.
true. But it's a sign of it's the '80s.
Okay.
In this issue, Guy Gardner just uses his ring to like jackhammer and demolish like this building that was being used for illicit drugs, like or just anything kind of illicit. Like it was a rundown, nothing was happening in there. So, drugs were being sold out of there. Women of the night were being ran through. Whatever it was, Guy Gardner took care of it. Right? He's
cat juggling.
He's feeling very good about it, patting himself on the back about it. And like the news is going on and on about just how great this one man's crusade of what he's doing, and he feels like he's trying to just make the Justice League feel like be something. Like I'm showing them that at least one of us cares.
Yeah.
But and he's sitting there, and I don't know how to do a Guy Gardner's voice. I'm very interested to see how Nathan Fillion is going to sound like this. I haven't even decided. Like me, I like doing voices. I haven't even decided what I'm going to do with him for this. But he's just like, "You hear that, babe? They love me." And she's just like, I heard
about
it.
Right.
Yeah, I heard it. I can't believe it. And don't call me babe. Sorry, Ice. No insult intended, babe. And he says it again. He's just that slimy kind of. And that is why in these instances that I'm about to show you, Nathan Fillion's casting is spot on for this.
This is the guy that we were talking about yesterday that called me Mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Ice just tells him, like, I hope you're an imagination. Have a very nice evening. Right? And he goes, oh, sure. Dump on me like everyone else does on the team. Like, you just don't, you just think he doesn't call her babe again. And he's like, ever think of trying, trying to get below the surface and find the real me? And like, they share this moment. And then Ice is like, okay, fine. You're on. You want me to see the real you? Then I'll go on this date. She seems very reluctantly, but she's going to do it.
Looks like John Goodman. Go back. Looks like John Goodman from Big Lebowski up top. Doesn't it?
It's a league game, Smokey.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. It looks
a little bit.
It looks like
a little bit. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
So as they get ready to leave, because other people on the team are like, I can't believe you're going out on a date with him. And she's like, I don't know. Like, maybe we are too harsh on him. Like, maybe, like, we do all just rag on Guy. Maybe we should give him his kind of due. And so as she's getting ready, she's dressed and she goes down. He goes, evening, babe. You're looking mighty hot for an ice queen. And he goes, that was a joke. I love the way. Here's the thing, Mike. I will tell you this, and I need to read more of it, but the little bit of like the JLI and the JLA stuff that I've read that like Keith Geffen writes, I think is so, and like in the art in the J. Mateus, like I found out that they call that run of them the Bwahaha League because it is kind of like, it has serious moments of like things that happen and serious things happen, but it's not afraid to have punchlines and jokes and like not take itself seriously in there too. Like you'll see when we get to kind of
That's why Gunn likes it.
And that's why it feels like this is what we're getting because this is probably what he grew up with. Anyway, And so she goes, "Oh,
Well, Peter Quinn. He's
Quill?
that's
Yeah,
Quill. He's that same guy.
Yeah.
He's the asshole with a heart of gold.
exactly."
Yeah.
And so he goes, "That was a joke." And she goes, "So was that soup." And he goes, "Okay, starting picking on me already." And she goes, "I apologize, Guy. Let's go ahead and go." And so as they're leaving and they're walking across the streets and they're just talking back and forth, and she's like, "We're not going to go on the subway." And he's like, "Nah, can't stand the stench down there. It's like riding an underground toilet. Besides, the walk will do you good. Will do you good. You run around in that skimpy costume all the time. You got to keep in good shape.
He's almost like a villain.
Break up some of that thigh cheese." Thigh cheese.
He's almost like the Joker or
He
something.
is.
Like he's
Also, while JLI is going on this whole time, and I'll kind of get to it when we're there, all of this, well, Justice League International was happening when they were rebooting everything. I'll wait till after this story because we're almost done here. So as you can see, though, down in the bottom, again, we're just focusing on Guy and Ice. Down in the bottom right corner, where does Guy decide to take Ice?
to the strip joint.
I don't think that's a strip joint.
You don't think it's a strip joint?
I think it's a full on. Well, it might be. I thought it was a full on theater. No, I thought it was a full on theater.
Oh, you think it's a it's a triple X-a-thon.
I could be wrong. I mean, that's just what it looks like over there in the corner.
It's Pee-wee's Playhouse.
And he goes, yeah. And they walk up there, and he's like, 2.
Oh my, there's speech bubbles in the way, so it'll hide their nakedness.
It is. And
Just like in the Bible.
There's like just that was good. I got that one. But like on the movie poster, 3 men and a babe is one of them.
Ah, there we go. Okay, all right, then it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like held over. And so like Guy Gardner is taking his date
To the porno theater.
to the porno theater.
Yeah, good for him. Nice job,
Which
Guy
is
Gardner,
just
with your
not
weird-ass
necessarily what you think of when you think of Green Lantern behavior.
Well, but the thing is, there's also naked girls
Yeah,
there,
but here's what I love.
which is weird.
But so he's like, what? You said you wanted to see these kinds of movies. And Ice goes, yeah, the one with Tom Selleck that Mr. Spock directed. And he goes, well, this is it. And she goes, but those posters, this neighborhood. And Guy's like, oh, right already. You're starting to doubt my good intentions. And she goes, but I didn't mean. He's like, yeah, that's what they all say. Then they break my heart. I don't know. That is not Baltimore. I don't know what I'm doing there. So I'm going to quit it.
It broke my heart.
Before I just offend people.
God.
But
I don't think anybody thinks you're being regionally specific.
That's true. It's just a voice for this. It's just so skeezy.
Yes.
And he's like, ticket, please. And he goes to give it because she's like, all right, like, I trust you. And there's another naked woman in there where the speech bubble just covers her up. And Ice is looking, he goes, God, that woman. And he goes, you know how it is today, babe. They use sex to sell everything, even movie tickets.
Okay.
And then about that time, we just got a, how dare you? How dare I what? And she has clobbered him, and he is like in the trash.
Yeah.
And she just goes, how dare you take me to see such horrifying, degrading, stomach-turning filth? Which I thought they were just going to watch porn. I have no clue what he took her to see in then.
Yeah, it has to be pretty rough.
Yeah, it does. And so she goes.
Maybe it was a live show.
Donkey? So,
Well, that's what I was thinking, like donkey or ping pong ball kind of stuff, you know?
And then he goes, if you'd have given it a few more minutes, you would have started to like it.
Oh.
Which is very much
Yeah.
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 So anyway, as they're having this fight, Black Hand appears again, and they end up having a battle.
Blowjob?
Yeah.
He's there?
He is. There he is.
There's
See
a
him?
blowjob.
There he is. Black Hand. They handle him pretty easily. And then after they get done beating up Black Hand, they go back to where they are. But the thing that I like at the end is down here. He goes, come on, admit deep down you really wanted to paste it on him. Like, just beat this guy up like I did. And she goes, you're the one who needs a therapist. You're warped, you're twisted, you're insufferable is what she tells Guy. And he tells her, handsome. You also forgot handsome. So, like, that is the Guy Gardner we have, right? Like, this is the Guy Gardner that I fully expect Nathan Fillion to be. Like, he's at the end, he's like, she loves me, and who could blame her? Like, okay. Let's skip ahead a couple issues to Justice League of America number 52, where, as you see, I'm doing these year-wise out of order, but there's a reason why, and I'll get to it in a second.
All right. Maxwell Lord.
Maxwell Lord is in here. You might know Maxwell Lord. Not to be confused with the Pedro Pascal Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Same character. I mean, like it is, but he ran the Justice League for a good bit, or was the head of it, and he did have that same, the power of like fulfilling. We talked about it a little bit in Booster Gold.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I've seen, Maxwell Lord plays a part in this new Superman thing as well.
He is. I think
because
that,
they are wearing the little insignia.
So that, again, I think they're using more of the JLI kind of where even if it's not the Justice League, there's probably a team of like Maxwell Lord-led
I don't think it's the Justice
superheroes.
League yet.
Yeah.
I think it becomes a Justice League.
But it's Mr. Terrific, it's Hawk Girl, it's
yeah.
So this is the fight of the century.
Shout out to Maximum.
Everybody. Shout out to
everyone. It's just like hands across America. What is that thing? Damn it! There's this guy that I watch on YouTube, and it's Maximum Emergency, I think is what it's called. And he does these little shorts about all the upcoming movies and all the trailers and all the drops and stuff, and he's very good at it. But he's the one that kind of has been looking at the Maxwell Lord part and all this stuff. It could
be really
the only
good.
reason I know about any of it.
It could be really good, and I'm interested to see where they go with this. So, because I think it's Sean Gunn that's playing it, his brother, which he could play. If they do the baffling kind of just like he's just kind of like an idiot, he can play well. And even if he's like the idiot with like ulterior motives in this like mastermind, I still think he can pull that off too.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I didn't think the Pedro Pascal one was done very well.
No,
like I like Pedro.
I don't think
Pascal.
that. I don't think that's him. Like I'm excited him as Reed Richards, but
yeah, I like Pedro Pascal and all, but I thought that was kind of a waste, honestly.
Fair enough. I'm with you there. The first one was better. Well, then I felt like they shoehorned Cheetah in there then too. So this one we get a boxing match.
Very much so. And I think it was a misuse of her talents.
It was. Between Blue Beetle and Guy Gardner, we get the fight of the century.
Well, it's the Blue Battling Beetle.
So what happens here is where I tell
Grinder
you
Gardner.
This is another. It's a story by Keith Geffen and good old J.D. DeMatteis. Okay. So like this is the group that in the 80s and 90s, because this is July of 91, that kind of knew how to write this group, or at least who wrote this, and they kind of write the characters this way. I don't think that made any sense, but hopefully it did.
Well, it says Justice League of America at top, and then on the bottom it's JLI.
Oh, because produced in association with Maxwell Lord Enterprises. Yeah. Because they are a part of the JLI. So let me tell this story before we get into it, and I've told it before too. When they rebooted everything with Crisis on Infinite Earths, when we talked about, which was the big event that DC did in the 80s, which it's essentially they said everything that happened before that happened, this is the main continuity. Like, this is what we follow right here. And so they were relaunching stuff. They were relaunching Superman. So Superman couldn't be on the Justice League book. They didn't want to do that. They were relaunching Wonder Woman. George Perez. They didn't want Wonder Woman to be on the book. The Flash wasn't Barry Allen anymore. He was Wally West, and he was the reason for all of this. So they were relaunching him. So it's like all these big guys, they didn't want to be on there. The only big guy that they allowed was Batman. It was Batman and a bunch of filler characters to do this. So that's how you get like Guy Gardner, Blue Beetle, all of that kind of to make it work. But JLI. Anyway, Blue Beetle has been feeling like he's been putting on a little bit of extra weight here lately. He has a hard time fitting into his costume.
His big ass.
And it takes him back to when he was made fun of in high school for some of his weight issues and stuff like that. Guy being typical Guy in this, like there's a point where he tells him, is like, where does it go? Your straining kid is like Ted Cord is Blue Beetle. As Ted's trying to lift this up, he's like, your straining kid, not good at all. You know the shape you're in, you ain't physically fit. And he finally gets it up, and Ted tells him, don't say it. And he goes, you're physically fat. And he goes like, just shake the sides of like his stomach. Right? So Guy's now picking on Ted Cord because of his weight here.
Boy, what a dick.
So...
Is that Martian Manhunter down there?
It is Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
So Ted just kind of, the two of them just get tired of it. They start just yelling at one another.
Yeah, sure.
And Guy tells him like, oh, if we had a fight, like I'd be able to take you. And Ted's like, you're on. Like I'm done. Like I just like all those bullies like back then. Like I'll show you now too. And so they decide they're going to have a boxing fight between the two of them. There at the headquarters there. Guy Gardner versus Ted Cord.
Yeah.
So
While
everybody's
Lita Ford watches.
B.
Sorry.
Everybody is kind of rooting for Ted in this. Nobody obviously is for Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
And Manhunter tells Batman, like, I'm hoping they kind of learn a lesson from this. And Batman's like, a lesson in what? And Manhunter goes, I haven't figured that out yet, but we'll just see how it goes. Like, there's a little bit of, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like it has the nice little bits of comedy in there, too.
Yeah.
So the round starts.
I love how Batman's just like hanging around.
He is. Yeah. He is just hanging out. And it's round one. And as they get ready to get out there, because where's Guy's telling him things like, that's it, Cord. Puff out your chest and try to impress the ladies before the fight, because it's the only chance you're going to get. 1 minute after the bell, pal, your history. And so, like, after it starts, Guy comes out. He's like, hey, look, that's 2 seconds, and you're still standing. I guess there really is a God. This is what he tells him. And he's like, all right. And then I suggest that you start saying your prayers right now, Gardner.
I'm gonna get
right
the shit
now.
knocked out of him.
That's what.
Yeah.
And so he tells like, oh, I'm terrified. I'm scared. Like, I'm shaking in my little booties. I'm boom. And he gets smacked right in the face, and he kind of falls right down. And he's like, how did you do that? And so everybody's, B is just like celebrating, and they're counting 1, 2. And he's like, Guy is like pushing himself up. And he's like, I'm up. And they're arguing back and forth about this, and Guy is furious. And he's like, all right, come on. As for you, blue butt face, is what he tells him. He's like, I'm done playing around with you. And he swings, and Blue Beetle kind of like ducks to get out of his way. And he tells him, it's like, why you're always playing around with me. Like, I'm done with like jerks with you. Like, from my childhood, whooping up on, oh no, is that Guy? Sorry. He goes, I don't know.
He's got a big ass jaw.
He does. Well, that's Major Glory. That's not.
Wait, the guy up top by Batman?
Yeah, that's Major Glory.
Oh.
Anyway, they're fighting back and forth, and Ted tells him, like, I learned how to take care of the big bad bullies just like I'm going to take care of you. And he gets in some nice punches, and he's controlling Guy this whole fight. Mm-hmm. And he finally gets in a good punch, and it causes Guy's nose to bleed. As you can see there, the art in this is great too. But he's just bleeding out of his nose. And it's kind of, he goes, nobody bleeds Guy Gardner. It's very much, nobody makes me bleed my own blood kind of scene. Yeah. It is. And so the round is over, and Ted's going over to the side, and he goes, hey, B, like, how am I doing? She's like, just terrific. And Guy angles like, nobody. And goes over there and just punches him right in the kidney. Just sucker punches him with nobody there to see it. Round's over. Yeah, and Ted just collapses. Yeah. The robot goes and checks on him and tells him, like, dude, he's got at least several broken ribs. Like, he's injured, probably like a ruptured kidney. Yeah. And Guy's just like, nobody should, he's just kind of lost it. And Manhunter essentially just kicks him off the Justice League there. He's like, well, you can't do that, right? So this is the Guy Gardner that we get. And that takes us to the last thing we're going to cover for this issue, Mike.
Ooh, Shazam.
Which we're going to go back
Captain Marvel
to 1987.
Okay.
We're going to go back 4 years, and there's a reason why, because I wanted to put a little bow on all this, at least for us, after seeing all this.
Okay.
To Justice League International. That, again, Giffen and DeMatteis here. Arts, McGuire, and Gordon. This is issue number 5 of the JLI run. And the whole thing during JLI 2 is Guy Gardner is very much wanting to lead this team. And he argues the whole time. It's him butting heads with Batman of, why are you the leader? Mm-hmm. I should be the leader. Mm-hmm. And, like, that is the whole thing. And it kind of leads up to this one point that is very infamous. I would say that what we're about to cover, Mike, if you don't know, is the most infamous thing about Guy Gardner. Okay? So, he constantly is fighting Batman, wanting for, like, control of, like, I should be the team leader and all that. It gets to a point where they're at the Justice League headquarters, and Guy Gardner has had enough, and he tells them, I've had it. You see Mr. Miracle over there, a different drawn Mr. Mm-hmm. Miracle, but we get a nice little old school. And he goes, did you hear what I said, Bats? And Batman tells him, I heard you, Guy. And Guy's like, well, don't you think it's time you wised up and turned command of this team over to me? And Batman just straight up tells him, like, I'd rather turn it over to Shazam, or as they call him, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, sure.
And he's just like, hey. But the reason there is they're playing up more of, like, this is a I'm pretty sure in the JLI, if I remember correctly, they played up more like this is a 13-year-old kid in a superhero's body. So he's like, I'd rather give it up to this guy.
Sure.
Like that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's like, figures you'd prefer Captain Whitebread to me, you gutless pansy, is kind of like what he's essentially telling him. And somebody says, hey, and he goes, I think it's time that I prove once and for all who's top dog around here, Batman. And so Batman goes, all right, this isn't a kennel guy, so stop acting like a mongrel, is what he tells. And Guy goes, that
You
does
can't say
it.
bitch in a comic
You
book.
can't, but that's as close. So essentially, let's go ahead and reread it like that because that's what they're going for. So Batman looks at Guy Gardner and goes, this isn't a kennel guy, so stop acting like a bitch.
That's exactly right.
And then Guy goes, that does it. And so he takes his ring off because he wants it to be, he wants it to be a fair, like he's like, I'm showing you. And he goes, that does it. And he takes the ring off and he throws it to Blue Beetle. And he goes,
You're
here,
gonna fight
Beetle,
effing Batman
hold my
by
ring.
taking your ring
I'm going to
off."
bare knuckle this bat-eared bozo into oblivion. And then Blue Beetle goes, you have such wonderful command of the language, Guy. And he goes, have you ever considered a writing career? And he goes, oh, you're next, Turkey. And he goes, oh, I'm scared. Like Beetle's just, and I think it's great. And they're trying to talk, Shazam is like trying to talk Batman out of this. He's like, Batman, like as the leader of the league, you should lead by example. Like if you stop or stoop to Green Lantern's level. And Batman tells him, like, I know what I'm doing here, Marvel. And maybe when you've had as many years of experience, you will too. Until then, keep out of this. So Marvel's
Everybody
angry.
just talks down to
and
each
he
other
goes
in
and he
this
leaves.
thing.
They do.
Yeah.
It's a dysfunctional family type
Yeah,
series.
very much so.
And so guys like, all right, let me add him.
There's
Let me
also
add him.
like zero female energy in that entire room.
It is.
you know?
That's the thing is you can picture it's just a bunch of guys just like, you know.
It's a bunch of guys in a locker room pissed off at each other. Yeah.
There's our Booster Gold, our buddy, is there too.
Yeah, see.
And so Batman looks at him and goes, now, Guy, was there something you wanted to do to me? And Guy tells him, you mean after I break your arms and legs? And so Batman just tells him, all bark and no bite. Guy goes, oh, I bite all right. I bite. And he goes into punch, and we get douche. The Batman are just bonk. The Batman punch right to the face, and Guy drops to the floor. And you get a cackling Blue Beetle. One punch.
Yeah.
And Martian Manhunter has walked in just to see this one move, to see Guy laying on the ground. And he's like, good afternoon, everyone. Hope we have... Is Guy on the floor? Like, just figuring out. And Batman's like, all right, I'm glad you guys are here. All right, now we can get this meeting underway. Just like completely just no selling what just happened as they walk over. And I love Black Canary, who was coming in, and she is like, you think she's like, Batman belted him? Batman belted him, and I missed it. Like, the rest of the team is so excited that somebody finally, gave Guy his comeuppance, and they're upset that they weren't there to see it. But yeah, so that is the most infamous thing, is him getting one punched by Batman. But there you go. That is Guy Gardner, and that is
So what ends up
absolutely
happening with Guy Gardner? He just is like still around?
So he's still around. So there's a bunch that happens, and I was trying to focus on the Guy Gardner.
Yeah, I get that.
I
get that, but I'm just saying, like, this guy, he's still around in the DCU.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a time
So he didn't die.
He didn't die, and there's obviously been relaunches and
But he did die.
things. He's died at times.
He got the yellow plague.
Well, then he died
He died.
but he came back.
How did he come back?
And current things. Well, that was a what if, so he never died.
Okay.
But like he leads the Red Lanterns at some point in time. He becomes a Red Lantern.
Yeah.
It's been retconned to where he used to be a cop. He wasn't from an abusive family. He was just from a family of cops, and then they redid that again, and then he's back to being from an abusive family. There's a lot of stuff with Guy Gardner, but he has at least grown as a character to where people do like him now, and I get that. Characters grow. Yeah. But I fully believe we are getting straight on D-bag Guy Gardner that we got there.
That's what I want.
For our Superman movie,
Absolutely.
and I think it is going to fit very well. So there you go.
Absolutely need that in a Superman movie because it is the other side of the coin.
It is. So that should answer your question, who is Guy Gardner?
That's great.
Kind of.
I love it. I still don't understand the haircut, but I get it.
So that was part of the rebrand. I think it was just
to make him a douchebag?
they thought it looked cool at the time. Yeah.
Just make him a douchebag.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love in that Nathan Fillion promo where he's just like,
Oh, it's great. He is rocking it
Pumping up
so
his
well.
hair and all
Well,
that
that's the
stuff.
quote from him is like, Guy Gardner is the type who believes he can beat Superman.
Yeah.
And that's how he is.
Oh,
like that
absolutely.
Guy Gardner there in the comics, that's how he is. There's points where he talks trash to Superman.
well, and to be 100% honest with you, you probably want that in a superhero.
Oh, for sure.
They probably should think they could beat anybody
For sure.
because otherwise you'd just be scared shitless all the time.
And that's not fun.
Well, I mean, you going to go up against Doomsday? I mean,
No.
that's tough.
Yeah. A
You
little
know?
bit. Smidge.
Yeah.
All right, that
I mean,
does it
it's
for us.
Doomsday.
That is who is Guy Gardner. Make sure to hang around for Wednesday. Well, I mean, if you just hang around here
Ask
till
Matt
Wednesday,
Mosley how hard it is.
you should too. You should. That was a nice joke.
That's something that nobody will get.
That's a solid joke, though. I got it. That is. That does it for our Monday show. Wednesday, we got Batman, the Magician, coming up for you.
Yeah.
A nice
Bat
little
Magician.
quick story to get there for you. But as always, thank you guys for taking the time out to watch and to listen. We appreciate it as always. Also, make sure to check out the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
A lot of great stuff
I don't know what
there.
that was.
It was great. That's what it
No,
was.
it really wasn't. It was bad.
But thank you guys again, and also for taking the time out to comment, to send us emails.
Yeah,
It's
man,
all
more of
great. We
those.
appreciate it so much.
More of those.
I'll dive into it more on Wednesday when we talk about what we have coming up from a recommendation. Again, feel free to email us. It's right there on the screen, but also bros, foes, and
the other
heroes
thing
at
is,
gmail.com.
we'll take shitty emails too.
Yeah.
I'll take them.
Yeah, for sure.
I will. I swear to you, I will give you your day in court. Great. You think that I'm a terrible person and this show stinks? Great. Let
Mike
us
loves
know.
that. Mike
Let
loves
us know.
that. I'm a little
Love
more
it.
fragile than Mike, but Mike loves that.
Love it.
Anyway, thank you guys for taking the time out as always.
I'm the Guy Gardner of this show. That's what I am.
There you go. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Hey there, guys. Just a quick reminder. Golly Con.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
The ring.
Real quick, sorry, gentlemen. Just a reminder: severe thunderstorm warning right now.
Okay.
Just I would advise probably best to just stay here till like at least till the day before.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Cut you off.
No,
That
you're
was
good.
our.
You're probably gonna leave as soon as.
No. That was Mason with our weekly weather report. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, man.
Keep track of it.
No, I appreciate it. It's great. You absolutely should leave that in. That is great.
It's very nice of Mason.
That
I
is
do
a
appreciate
good
it.
one.